We're recording?
We're recording.
We are on
air.
hot on the air. It's hot.
Yes. So welcome back. Oops. I don't know how I sound, but welcome back everybody to the Shine Yoga for the People podcast. And I realized last week that we didn't actually
Introduce ourselves?
introduce ourselves.
I was thinking about that also. I was like, these people think probably I'm just some crazy off the street.
I mean, you are. That's where I found you.
That's true.
Yep.
Streets of state of Ohio.
Wandering down the street. Yes.
The hallway.
No. So we're going to do our centering. We're going to breathe. And then we are going to give a proper introduction to ourselves. And then we're going to talk about Satya or truthfulness.
All right.
So let's get into it. So as long as you're not driving, find yourself in a comfortable seat. If you're in a place where your feet can touch a surface, do so. Let your toes feel what they're connected to. You can close your eyes or have a soft gaze. Let go of any breath you're holding on to and send your next inhale into your belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. And take 2 more cycles in your own time. And allow your eyes to flutter open, bringing yourself back to the space. Welcome. We're so glad you're here.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. I am Kari. I am your stereotypical middle-aged Midwestern white woman. Born and raised in Ohio. And I have my bestie Ramah with me.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Who are you?
I'm Ramah.
Yep.
Yeah. I am also a Midwestern white woman.
Yes.
Not so typical.
Yeah, well, that too. Yeah.
But yeah. I know a lot of stuff about a lot of stuff. I got a lot of letters after my name.
Yes. We both have a lot of letters after our names.
That mean nothing in today's world.
Not at all.
But thank you. Thank you, Daddy Biden, for forgiving my student loans.
Yes. Make sure that you take a screenshot of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was a good day.
Yep.
But yeah. Kari is a yoga teacher, though.
So I am a yoga teacher.
Certified yoga teacher.
Yep. And I have a master's in counseling. And I do rehabilitation counseling for people with disabilities. And Ramah has a lot of master's degrees.
I do. I'm working on my 3rd.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's that. I have a master's in psychology and a master's in higher education. And now I'm working on my master's in thanatology.
Yes.
So that's exciting.
And for people that don't know, what is thanatology?
Thanatology is the science of death, dying, and bereavement.
Yes.
So I'm very excited about that.
Yep. And that goes a lot into some aspects of yoga that we'll be getting into eventually as well.
Yes, I'm very excited about that.
Yep.
Super excited to talk about that.
Awesome. So last week we talked about ahimsa or nonviolence, and today we're going to talk about the second yama, which is satya, which is truthfulness, honesty, non-lying. And in a lot of ways, these go hand in hand, because when we talk about honesty being such a lonely word, everyone is so untrue. Sorry.
Our
Neurospicy.
neurospicy. We love it though.
Yeah. But you need to, yes, be honest, but evaluate, will that honesty harm people?
Right.
Right.
We started talking about it last week.
Yep.
And you were like, "Shh, we're doing it next week." And I
Yes.
was like, "Okay." So,
Yeah.
and I want everybody to know I know nothing about yoga outside of a few poses. So, I'm learning this as well. I'm just here for the comic relief, I think.
No. You're here for an outside perspective, and when we get to those perspectives
Yes.
on grief and death and dying and clinging to life,
Yes.
because there's a big part of that too.
That's my place.
That is your place in this world. So, honesty, truthfulness, that which exists, that which is, seeing and communicating how things actually are, not how we want them to be. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, Patanjali, the person or entity that wrote the Yoga Sutras about Satya, says, if by being honest we will cause trouble, difficulty, or harm to anyone, we should keep quiet. But instead of lying and saying things like, I don't know, we can be frank, or we can be Kari and Ramah. Spicy. We can say, I know, but I don't want to tell.
Interesting.
So we're not lying, but we're also keeping things from being harmful.
So we're protecting the person. So we're lying by omission.
We're not lying because if someone asks us a question, we can say, I know that answer, but I can't say anything. Or
I see.
Yeah. So the idea that, yes, we need to tell the truth, but first and foremost, we need to do no harm. And if telling the absolute truth does harm, we need to weigh that and not lie by, like, if someone says, well, what about this? We don't say, I don't know. We say, I do know, but it's best that I not say anything.
What if it's like a question like, you know, like, do I look fat in this or something like that? Like, let's be real, right? Like,
okay,
you say no, or you say yes and it hurts their feelings. You say no, and you're lying to them,
right? Or so you say no, it's not the dress that makes you look fat.
Dang.
Sorry.
No, that was great. But no, like where that is such a simple, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because you can't be like, do I look fat in this? And then be like, well, I know the answer, but I'm not going to say it. I plead the fifth.
I mean, you could say something like, how do you feel in that dress? Like, I have my opinions of you in this dress, but it's more important how you feel in this dress. Is that cheesy? Is that
I would
weird?
Say that's cheesy. I'd be like, so I look terrible in it. Just can say that.
Or you could be like my husband saying, well, what do you want me to say?
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the same thing.
What answer are you looking for?
Whatever you want me to say, I'll say it.
Like, this is like literally a daily conversation in the house.
Literally.
What answer are you looking for? You want me to say something. What is it?
What is it?
Because I'm not playing this game.
I understand that.
Right.
All too well.
Yes.
So,
but it's like, don't ask the question you don't want the answer to.
You can't blame that on somebody for
what. No.
You be like,
but in the long run,
yeah.
I think it's like long-term harm.
as a Scorpio,
Is this going to be every week?
Ongoing theme.
Ongoing theme.
I am so honest with people.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you knew that about me. So I expect the same.
Okay.
So if somebody, I guess I don't lie to people. So if you ask me if you look fat in something, I'm going to tell you like, yeah, man, that's not flattering.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be like, yeah, you look fat, but I'm going to be honest. And that's just the kind of person I am. You know that about me.
Mm-hmm.
So I would prefer that anyway.
Right.
But that's just me.
So I think that also leads into the core of truthfulness is open communication.
Absolutely.
Like, we're not faking intent. We're not
right.
trying to be nice. We're not purposely being mean or spiteful or causing harm. But if we start off from a basis of open communication and honesty, then there's no reason to be dishonest.
Right. Right. I mean, if there's always honesty,
right?
You know, there's always that trust.
Right.
I feel like that's so important. Communication is so important.
Yes, absolutely. And it's seeing, like I said, seeing and communicating how things actually are, not how we want them to be. We're conditioned to see things through the lens of our thoughts, our beliefs, and our past experiences, which are most often not how they are.
Damn.
It's like big R reality and little R reality.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, my therapist always used to say, is that how she said it, or is that how you heard it?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So then we have to ask ourselves, you have to be honest with yourself first.
Yes.
Right?
Honest with yourself.
Honest with yourself.
Who you are.
Right. Be genuine.
And as you're looking at other people, acknowledging that their experience is not your experience.
Right.
Their reality is not your reality.
Correct. I deal with that a lot at work.
Yeah.
You know, for sure. For sure.
Yes.
Because a lot of families, yeah, they have problems, man.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're already stressed too, that's, if I'm not word saladating right now, like when because my brain is like thinking of things. So like when you're already stressed and then there's that issue, and we're all stressed right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to make sure that we are stepping back and being honest with ourselves about how stressed we are, first of all. And also, you know, about our values and our core values right now, and reevaluate all of that.
Right. And just because something's my core value doesn't mean it's yours.
Right.
Like, I try to be open and see things. Okay, I'm going to word salad here. But not only did I get my master's degree in counseling, I got my undergraduate degree in theater.
Right.
And the actor's main question is also the counselor's main question, which is, what would I do if I were this person in these given circumstances?
Right.
So when I approach a character that I'm portraying, I'm not approaching it as Kari. I'm approaching it as, you know, the Jewish hooker I played in a play once.
Mazel tov.
Yeah, at the turn of the last millennium. In, like, the Holy Roman Empire. Yeah, that was a thing.
Oh, right.
So, not, you know, not Jewish, not hooker Kari in 2020 something or other. Just, I forget my character's name. But I had dark curly hair, and so that's why I was cast in that role. Because you know, all Jewish girls in the Holy Roman Empire in 999
had dark curly
had
hair.
dark curly hair.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So I had to approach the character from that mindset. And then I had to, when I meet with a client, approach things from, again, I'm not 45-year-old Carrie that lives in the suburbs. I have to look at it as, you know, this person that's 16, lives downtown, doesn't have transportation, and has cerebral palsy.
Correct.
Yeah. And so when we step outside of ourselves and we can be honest about that, not everyone looks at things from our perspective. And there are things that we can, as ourselves, not agree with, and they're not relevant to our lives personally, but acknowledge that, again, my reality is not everyone's reality. For example, complete honesty here, I could never be polyamorous.
Never ever.
But
as a Scorpio,
right, I'm jealous.
I'm just not set up for it.
No.
But, you know,
more power to the people that are to accept that about themselves.
I have several poly friends, and I'm like, and it takes work. I know that, but yeah, yeah, I could never.
Right. But it's not my place because that's not my reality doesn't mean that permeates for everyone, and that it should, like, my belief shouldn't be the be all end all.
Right. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus. Could you imagine if I were the determining factor in moral standing? Please.
I mean, my personal opinion is I would rather you be the moral police than some other people.
I'm just looking at people like, I don't give a fuck. Matter of fact, I'm blind in my left eye. There'd be like 3 laws. 1, don't be a dick. That'd be number 1 law in the Constitution.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, like,
the new Bill of Rights.
Don't be a dick.
You don't have the right to be a dick.
Oh, man. Crazy.
Right. Well, I mean, that's ahimsa, not harm.
That's true. Yeah, last week. Look, full circle.
Yes.
Full circle.
It all connects.
It all connects.
So another thing, when we lie, we disconnect from our higher selves. Our minds become confused, and we can't trust ourselves.
Yeah. I was going to get a drink, and I reached.
Oh, well.
Oh, well. Whatever.
Yes. So,
right, and then you get into, like, that cognitive dissonance.
Yes,
because
exactly.
You can't trust yourself. Who can you trust?
Right.
And so it's constant defensiveness.
Right.
Then you break the number 1 rule of the new Constitution.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. You broke it.
Yep. Exactly. So how does this relate to oppression? This honesty, non-lying.
Mm-hmm.
So if we lie to ourselves, if we're not living our authentic selves, we're not seeing the reality of the world and the lives of others, we are letting our personal beliefs convince us that our thoughts are accurate and everyone should live or be or exist based on our beliefs and values. So, how to practice this is to talk to others with different lived experiences, watch news from diverse news sources, not just the ones that agree with you. What do you think of that? I mean, I don't watch a lot of mainstream media
We
anyway.
don't either anymore. We stopped. There was one point CNN gave the Cheeto in charge his town hall.
Yeah.
And that was it for us. We were done. And then everyone else kind of followed suit, with Morning Joe and all them. So now we're on we pretty much rely on Midas Touch for most of our but so personally I think that finding a neutral news source is best, but there aren't any,
right?
So
like
we need to
I read Reuters,
yeah,
like the AP,
yeah,
but
well, he just recently kicked AP out of one of his
I saw yeah
but anyway, yes, learning to watch other newses and BBC's a good one. Yeah. To take that information and, understand that it's real and it's true and it's happening. That takes a level of self-reflection a lot of people don't, because people are so ready to accept the reality that is only their reality that they believe is going on.
Right. And it's something as simple, like an example of, I live closer to Columbus, and then there are some people that go to my daughter's school that live up in Powell, which is in a different county. And, if school gets delayed or canceled and it's like, oh, well, I don't see snow here.
Right.
Well, that doesn't negate the fact that there's snow other places.
Yes.
So just because it's not your reality, it doesn't mean it's not somebody else's.
Correct. Exactly. And that level of honesty and being honest with others about that too. We see a lot of people who are more privileged than others not willing to admit that they're more privileged.
Right.
And so,
or not understanding what privilege is. Like, well, I grew up on like Snap and
right.
I went to an inner city school and stuff. And no, but those things didn't happen because of your ethnic or racial makeup.
Right.
There are things that, what is it?
Or sexual orientation.
Or whatever. Like, when I leave the house, do not fear of getting pulled over. And if I do get pulled over, I know that it's because I was speeding, most likely. And that I'm not going to die if I get pulled over.
Right.
But if I didn't look like me, do I have that same thought process, inner feeling, lived experience of what it's like to leave the house every day?
In fear.
Yeah. And that is privilege.
That is privilege. And it's so... I know that I have privilege. And it's sad when I am with my friends of color, my brown friends, my black friends. It's sad that when we're driving around, they get nervous I live near a really small town, and they get nervous. And I'm like, it's okay, I'm white, like, we're fine, but I can really say that. And, and that kind of honesty is the kind of honesty that people need to have with themselves.
Right.
Like, your privilege is so very real. Whatever that privilege may be, it's so very real. And in order to understand others and empathize with others, you have to first understand that and be honest with yourself about that and say, I have this privilege that others don't. Because what that's going to do is that's going to humble you. That's going to make you realize that, there's, being a decent person and there's being a good person. I mean, you don't have to be a jerk necessarily, but maybe you weren't the most, attentive person when you saw someone sitting on the street or whatever. You know what I mean? and acknowledging that privilege really helps bring you down a notch and understand where you're at versus somebody else.
Right.
Um,
Being honest with
right,
yourself.
exactly. And it's so important.
Right. So, in examining ourselves in living this Satya or truthfulness, we can ask ourselves, are we living authentically? Are we living authentically? Again,
Right.
are you lying to yourself, not only about how you're approaching the world, but about who you are as a person? And when I look at this question, like, have you been lying to yourself about who you are and what you want? You know, we've been talking mostly about race and privilege,
Mm-hmm.
but also it can come to gender orientation,
Absolutely.
lying to ourselves about who we are, who we love, what our identity is.
Right.
So examine that. So, what do you, Ramah,
Yeah.
see or experience that is not truthful in your life, things you see? Yeah,
All
that's
the things.
all the things.
It's so easy to see lies. There's very little. I would think it would be easier to say, where do you see truthfulness
Mm-hmm.
in a world of lies? You know? And that is really what we need to seek out. And not looking for, because it is not an existence of honesty at this point in any way, shape, or form. Where you might be lying to yourself about what's going on. You might be in denial. You might be, lying to your children to protect them. You might be lying to your family to protect yourself and to others to protect yourself at this point. It feels like in a world of lies, finding honesty is the needle in the haystack,
Mm-hmm.
And it's as far as you even sitting with your parents who have opposing views as you and not bringing it up.
Mm-hmm.
It's you're still not being your genuine self at that point.
Right.
So it's unfortunate that this is how divisive things have become in our country, that we can't even be our genuine selves around people who we love the most.
Right.
So I mean, where is there dishonesty? Everywhere. We're all guilty of it right now, I think, in one way, shape, or form. I just try to live my most genuine self. I don't care. I fuck off like nobody's watching, right? Like, I literally, at this point, I'm 40 years old, and you have to just be who you want to be with who you want to be with. Don't force things. Don't, treat everybody equally. Be kind. Whatever you got to do, just don't be dishonest with yourself and with others, because it's not worth it, because it eats you alive.
Mm-hmm.
Living in a disingenuous existence.
It's a lot of work to not tell the truth.
So much work. You got to track everything, and
right. Who did I tell what to?
Right. Yeah, that's why I can't stand lying. I would rather you tell me a harsh truth than a gentle lie any day of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not protecting me. You're gonna piss me off is what you're gonna do. So,
and it's also like it comes to like masking too,
right?
Like not masking like for like health reasons, like
right,
like like if you're neurospicy, you know what masking is.
Right.
It's pretending, like putting up a front, pretending that you're not neurospicy,
right?
But it could also be masking your sexual orientation, your gender identity. And it's such work to be one person in front of this group of people and a different person in front of this group of people.
Right.
And even like going to work, you have one self at work and one self at home.
Right.
And that's typical, and we all do it. At least most of us do it.
Right.
For preservation. And while, yes, there needs to be a level of decorum when you're in a professional environment, can we get away from being completely fake and non-transparent?
You can. You can. I mean, I did.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, we can't all go work for a crematorium.
No,
but
you cannot all go cremate people because I need my job. But they took our jobs. Raymond did it. It's cool. You know, but I think that if everybody really tried, you know, it feels capitalism is the greatest liar.
yes.
You know, we feel every day like we have to do so much, make so much. Our productivity, our worth is based on our productivity. And man, was it good to let go. Man, was it good to understand that my ADHD wasn't going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
My, you know, my ADHD probably.
Mm-hmm.
My spectrumness wasn't going anywhere. So I had to embrace myself and fit myself into where I needed to be versus, you know, pushing, like forcing myself into something. I needed to say, okay, this is who I am and find my hole versus saying, this is who I'm supposed to be and finding my square.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yes. And it brings up the oppression that comes with capitalism and how that's
code switching.
Yes, exactly. And how that stifles truthfulness.
Right.
Because because of my day job, there are things I cannot say publicly because I will get in trouble. And that is really starting to wear on me.
Mm-hmm.
And because of I need this job to, you know, pay my mortgage and, you know, feed my child and,
right,
you know, all the things that oppression is forcing us to not be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So if one by one we all started being a little bit more honest, starting with ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and then opening up our viewpoint to have a more global idea instead of this microcosm of what our lives are.
Right.
Opening it up and seeing how many diverse lives there are, ways of living, ideologies, belief systems. We are all a beautiful rainbowic tapestry of love.
It's so true.
It is.
It is. It's so true. If people would just, you know, loosen their buttholes just a little bit.
Yep.
You know, and just relax and go inside yourself and say, what did I want to be when I grow up? You know, and
I wanted to be an actress, a psychologist, and a lawyer.
I wanted to be a lawyer for a long time. My freshman year of high school, though, I did a career presentation on mortician because that was really where I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I do. Right. Now I'm not a mortician, but I
wanted to be a vet, and she didn't end up doing it. And now, like, looking back, that she's been a social worker for how long, and I'm sure she enjoys it, but she's like, if I won the lottery, what would I do?
Right.
And she's like, I'd go back to vet school.
Absolutely. And that's the crazy thing is just like, you know, I don't know. I feel like being stuck in a bureaucratic job, and I'm talking not even necessarily like political, I'm talking like bureaucratic in general, is
where there's a hierarchy.
Right. That's what I meant. Yes. That's, man, that it just sucks your soul right out of your body, and you just want to go home and not exist.
You put up walls.
Yes.
So that's a form of dishonesty
Right.
is you're not being allowed to speak your mind.
Right. And, I can't imagine. I mean, I do that. I did that for a long time on a daily basis. But I can't imagine doing it to keep myself alive.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cares if I'm a screw off. My mom's probably a little disappointed, but whatever. Nobody cares that I'm a screw off, but there are lots of people out there that care what color your skin is, and what's in your pants, and what your sexual orientation is, and that is for survival.
Mm-hmm.
And it breaks my heart to think that there are people out there that cannot be their genuine selves because they're afraid for their safety or losing their family, or
But imagine
things like that.
If those people that cared were honest about why they cared and
Right.
not making this stuff up about grooming and
Right.
Yeah, pedophilia, which is not. Anyway, yes, that's a thing, but not in the people that they're saying it is. So it's like, yeah. So how could more truthfulness dismantle oppression? If those people that are in power, that were creating and enforcing policies and laws, were actually honest about why they were doing it.
Imagine.
We're
doing this because we hate you.
Because we're afraid of you, because you're not like us.
Right.
Because we don't want to lose power.
Right.
So we're going to try and pit other people against you.
Right.
We're going to other you because we don't want
differences.
We don't want to lose power.
Right.
And money is power. Goes back to capitalism.
All the way. Capitalism is a liar.
I was in my, I called it Problems of Democracy. I think it was actually called Principles of Democracy in my senior year in high school. And I actually said, wouldn't it be just so much simpler if we went back to the barter system and got rid of money? And so I'm a counselor. So in exchange for me giving you counseling, you will cremate me when I die.
Yeah, that's what bartering means.
Right.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be easier?
I mean, yeah, I've always thought that.
Yep.
I've always wanted to live in the non-racist Pilgrim days.
The non-racist Pilgrim days.
Let's get away from the hate that happened back then. But could you imagine just living? Oh man, that would be amazing. I'm a hippie. I hate
it here, so I will go to secret gardens in my mind.
Literally, that would. Except mine would be a secret hippie compound.
Yes,
it would just be me and my family. That's the compound.
Yep. Well, the second verse is I would go to lunar valleys in my mind.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Is that Taylor Swift?
Yes.
Nice. Yes, I'm getting better.
I can make anything a Taylor Swift reference at this point. All my mornings are a Monday stuck in an endless February.
Yeah. And if you were honest with yourself, you'd be like, wow, that really sucks. I shouldn't be stuck in an endless February.
Right.
February is the worst month, too.
It is. For the shortest month. It is the longest month.
Weather-wise, too, it's always the worst.
Yes. And then in March, I can't sleep. February is really long, and then in March, I get insomnia.
Why? Because you get excited?
No, because...
I'm so excited to be alive.
It's March. No, because it's that in-between month that is just, nothing happened. My due date with Delaney was April 13th. And being the age I was, I knew that I probably was going to go early. Even though I convinced myself that first babies are never early.
How'd that work out?
No. So I just said, I just don't want her born in March. I just don't want her born in March. March depresses me. It's just there's a Simpsons thing that says stupid smarch weather. And it Just in my head, March is just kind of bleh. And I
Yeah.
apologize to my best friend Kate and my mom and my mother-in-law whose birthdays are in March. I'm just being honest. I'm being honest.
My dad's birthday's in March, too.
I'm sorry. May he rest in peace.
Him's dead.
Yes.
Yeah, his birthday was March 10th.
Oh, my mother-in-law's is March 17th. And
Yeah,
it took me like...
one of Ben's daughter's birthdays the 17th.
It took me 20 years to finally say, wait, your name's Pat.
That's so funny.
Neurospicy divergent going off. Anyway.
All day.
Where
are we at? 45 minutes? That's pretty good.
Yep, squirrel. So where was I going?
I don't know.
Oh no, I had
no.
in terms of Ayurveda, I guess my my dosha or whatever is kapha, and that is like slow and sluggish and heavy and damp.
Is that what your person told you?
Yes.
During your
Reiki? No, this was a couple years ago when I was going through yoga training.
Oh, I see.
No. And so because of that, yeah, I'm going to not... March is just going to be a bluch for me.
That's fair.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been... The past couple of years, I've found it hard to fall asleep in March.
That's interesting.
Yeah. If I'm being honest.
That's crazy.
So back to how truthfulness can dismantle oppression. So what if the media were honest in their reporting? What if there was more awareness of the public? A better informed population can make more informed decisions in elections on all levels.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't it be nice if there weren't propaganda?
It's been since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
Dawn of time. It's oh man. I cannot even imagine a world where if politicians were honest.
Right?
If you know, lawmakers and were honest, and wouldn't that be wonderful?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that capitalism would exist, to be honest. If I'm being honest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that we would need it.
Mm-mm.
Because, you know, let's be honest. Corporate greed is nothing but a bunch of lies. They lie to themselves, they lie to their employees, they lie to, you know, us about prices, and I don't know.
Inflation is making things more expensive, but my CEO got a huge bonus.
Right.
And our profit margins are
through the roof.
And
yet my holiday bonus was cut. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Been there.
Which kind of leads into that honesty, truthfulness, Satya also means speaking up for others and knowing when to listen.
That's hard.
Yeah.
That's I think that is probably the hardest thing to do in all of existence.
Yes. Because we want to be productive. We want to do something. We want to be effective.
Right.
As I told my therapist, I feel personal responsibility for things that are outside of my control.
All the time.
Yes.
We're fixers.
Yes.
Childhood trauma.
CPTSD.
Check.
And yeah, needing to, if here's a problem, we need a solution.
Right.
But sometimes there isn't one right away. And if we jump right into it, I know. But if we jump right into it without stopping, listening, looking at things from every angle, and sitting with it, sometimes we don't need to do anything. And sometimes there are things that are already being done and we just need to find them and either let whoever is doing it do it, or see how we contribute to what's already in existence.
That's my favorite thing to do. I like to jump in and help others.
Yes.
I'm not a good organizer.
No. I am good at big picture ideas, but the logistics are not my thing. Do you know that all this stuff to do this podcast, I had to get Nikki to help me with?
Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could
And then I ended up figuring out how to like load this onto Spotify myself, which is great. But then she kind of said, well, yeah, you're saving me time, but at the same time, I want to be able to do this for you because I have the ability to make it sound better, and
Nice.
you're just kind of like going ahead and doing it yourself. So I'm like, okay, so maybe this one.
Nikki was being honest with you.
Nikki was being honest with me. Nikki, I don't think knows how to not be honest.
That's the struggle.
That is the struggle. Yeah. But after 27 years, I love Nikki for who she is.
Yeah. When you're friends with somebody that long, you're kind of stuck.
Not stuck. Not stuck.
Stuck meaning like you're going to be friends for a long time. Not stuck
Right.
like trapped.
I gotta be friends with her
Like
now.
you're stuck being friends. That's it.
No,
it's over.
I love Nikki. We love Nikki.
Yeah. I have a friend that I've been friends with that long.
Yep. And then my friend Kate, I've been friends with since 3rd grade.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy how that happens?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've been friends almost 10 years. Stop.
No.
Stop. January of
2016.
Right.
So.
Yeah. In January.
Because
it'll be 10 years.
Yeah, because she was born in April, and then you started in January. On my birthday. You started on my birthday.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Huh. I guess I never even thought about that.
Yeah. And I was so sad because Melanie left. And I literally bawled the day she told me she was leaving.
And then I came in.
And then you came.
Like a Kool-Aid man.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
Okay, neurospicy for a minute.
Yeah.
I found a Facebook memory where Delaney kept saying, I want the ogre man. I want the ogre man. And I'm like, the ogre man like Shrek? Like, what are you talking about? And then the Kool-Aid commercial came on and she said, ogre man. And it was, oh yeah.
That's so funny. She's my favorite.
She is awesome. She embodies honesty.
Yeah, she's so honest. I love her so much.
Yeah.
I showed her, I said, look at my cat socks. And she said, I have some of those too.
Yep.
I said, I have toe beans and everything.
Oh, yeah. And when she doesn't want to tell you something, she doesn't lie. She just goes,
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's growled at me before. I've been growled at. That means I've been accepted, though.
Yes. Yes. She growls at those she loves. Neurospicy.
It's so funny.
So, being true to our authentic selves, our identity, specifically gender identity. Yeah, I wrote down, you may think they didn't have trans or non-binary people in ancient India, but oh yes, they did. They did, and they still do. Now I forget what they call them. But
yes, trans and non-binary has been around for
thousands of years.
Yeah, that we know of.
Right.
I would assume before that also. It's
right.
Once humans, gain that consciousness.
Our true, authentic self, the Atman, Atman, is the essential identity. According to the Upanishads, which is one of the holy texts, while the body, this shell that we are existing in as a human, is transient, meaning it can change. Many people in Vedic texts changed their outer body, what they presented. But the soul, the self, the authentic Atman self never changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Imagine that.
Mm-hmm. If we're being honest.
There are a lot of cultures that accept trans and non-binary.
Yep.
And gender fluid.
Yep.
Without question. Like, it's just always been a part of their culture and,
right.
and their society, and it was just never questioned because
right.
it's always been there. Things like gender roles, you know, were not a thing until colonization.
Right.
So
white people weren't a thing until colonization.
White people weren't a thing until colonization. They were stuck in Europe without the seasonings or rhythm.
And lots of mayonnaise.
Ugh. It's so gross. You ever get a McChicken with like 6 tablespoons of mayonnaise on it? It's the worst.
I don't eat mayonnaise.
Oh. Yeah.
Like, knowingly, I don't eat mayonnaise, if I'm being honest.
Has anybody ever sneaked you mayonnaise without you knowing?
I'm sure there's mayonnaise and things that I eat. So if I make tuna salad.
You use ranch instead?
No, I use the tiniest bit of mayonnaise or Miracle Whip just as a binder, and then tons of relish.
Try a little ranch dressing instead.
Okay.
Just trust me on that. Just a little bit, just enough to bind it.
Okay.
If you don't like mayo or Miracle Whip. I prefer Miracle Whip myself, but...
Being honest.
You're getting that little tang. A little zing. Alright, well, this was nice.
What did we learn?
We gotta be honest.
We gotta be honest.
With ourselves.
With ourselves.
With others.
Step outside your reality.
And think about what it would be like if you couldn't be your genuine self.
Right.
Don't take it for granted.
Right.
I certainly don't.
Right. Read the Upanishads.
Yep. I'll be sure to do that.
I got it upstairs.
Immediately.
Yeah. It's not that big. And the Bhagavad Gita. Can you say Bhagavad Gita?
What if Miss Rachel? Can you say Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita. Good job.
Hi. Hi. Bhagavad.
So funny.
And on that note,
yeah,
we thank you so much for joining us today. I like how we're looking to the camera like they're actually gonna like look at us.
They might.
But yeah. So thank you, Rachel. You're not Rachel.
My impression was just that good. Changed my whole identity.
I'm so sorry. On that note, I think we're done.
We've only known each other almost 10 years. That's so funny. All right.
Okay. Thank you guys.
Next week or
yeah,
eventually.
Eventually. I know my friend Moonwater is going to also come on
perfect.
Saturday.
Nice.
She's going to come and we're going to talk about non-stealing or asteya.
Wow.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Stealing energy, stealing time, stealing joy.
Man.
Yeah.
Imagine me and that sucker.
Yep.
All right.
Peace out, homies.